Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh. Today is Friday, June 12th. Thank God it's Friday. I hope everyone is having an amazing week so far. So in today's video, per usual, I am going to be doing another stimulus update. This is going to be for the first stimulus check for those on Social Security benefits such as SSI and SSDI, as well as an update for veterans and railroad retirees. Now, before I get into this video, per usual, if you wouldn't mind just quickly hitting that like button below, giving me a big thumbs up. It just helps with the YouTube algorithm and also helps get this video out to other people like you that are still looking for their stimulus check if they're on Social Security benefits or veterans, railroad retirees, etc. Also, leave a comment in the comment section below letting me know whether or not you received your first stimulus payment yet or not. And that way it just creates a good conversation and we can all see who's receiving their stimulus payments, what benefits they're on, and when they receive the payment. And then we can also see who is still waiting for their stimulus payment. So we hope as the weeks progress, we see fewer and fewer people reporting that they're not receiving their stimulus payment. They should be sending these out in batches and waves every single week. So if you haven't yet received your stimulus payment, don't feel bad. There are still millions of people who haven't received their stimulus payment. And unfortunately, it is going to take months for the IRS to continually churn these stimulus payments out, but eventually they will get to everyone. And with all that said, we have taxes due every single year on April 15th. And if we don't pay our taxes on time, what happens? Well, we're hit with all these fees by the IRS. So with all that said, I'm not sure why the IRS can't hold themselves with that same type of accountability as far as these stimulus payments go. Okay, so to start this video out, I'm gonna answer some of the comments and questions that I received in the comment section in my previous video. And if you have any other questions for me, feel free to leave it in the comment section below and I will try to get to it. I do try to answer as many comments and questions as I possibly can down there. And the comments and questions that I'm unable to get to, I try to pick some of the best ones, some of the more popular ones, and some of the questions I think can help them most people, and I try to answer them in the next video in video form. So without further ado, without wasting too much more of your time, let's go ahead and jump into the first comment of yesterday's video, and that was from Todd. So Todd says, how come two different IRS agents told me that they will do direct deposit into a bank outside the US, and two other different IRS agents told me they will not do a direct deposit into a bank outside the United States? You also said in this video that the IRS will not do a direct deposit into a bank outside of the US. If anyone should know the correct answer, it should be the IRS, but apparently they are too stupid to even know the correct answer. Okay, Todd, thank you so much for that question, and I completely agree with you. There is nothing more frustrating than calling a company one day, them giving you one type of answer, and then you call back the next day, you talk to someone completely new, and they give you a completely different answer. And I think what's happening here is the IRS actually hired a bunch of new agents, so they're probably still in their training period, so they may be a little bit overwhelmed with information, and they may not all have the correct information. But yeah, it can definitely be confusing being told one thing by one IRS agent and a completely different thing by another IRS agent. Now, on the IRS website, it actually mentions that the quickest way to receive your tax refund is by direct deposit to a checking or savings account, including an individual retirement arrangement. However, you do need a US account to request direct deposit. If you do not have a US account or do not choose to receive your refund via direct deposit, a check will be mailed to you to the address you provided on your tax return. Now, this is talking about your tax refund and it's not talking about the stimulus payment, but I would think the same thing would apply to this as well. If they weren't able to issue a direct deposit to a non-US bank account for a tax refund, I would think the same would apply for a stimulus payment as well. And I would also like to add that I've seen numerous expats with non-US based bank accounts that usually receive direct deposit, but instead of receiving direct deposit with their stimulus payment, they are issued a check instead, which fortunately for them, they live in countries that actually have a pretty good postal system and it wasn't slowed down by the virus. So with all that said, if you are eligible for a stimulus payment and you do not have a US based bank account, unfortunately, you may have to wait a little bit longer depending on the postal service system in your country. All right, so the next question today is from Manuela. Manuela says, hi Josh, I'm on disability and have direct deposit and still no money. I checked my payment portal saying payment date not available. All right, thank you so much for that question. So if you're still receiving payment status not available, all that means is that the IRS has not scheduled a delivery date for you. It doesn't mean that you're ineligible for a payment. It doesn't mean that you're not going to receive the payment. You're definitely going to receive the payment as long as you're not being claimed as a dependent on anyone else's tax return, or as long as you don't have something like past due child support that could potentially offset the stimulus payment. So in the meantime, just continue checking the payment portal. One other thing you could try is to try typing your physical street address in all capital letters, or trying to abbreviate your street address. So instead of typing out DRIVE for drive, if you live on a drive, abbreviate drive for DR, lane for LN. Sometimes that can work. And if you try abbreviating your street address and try capitalizing your street address, and neither method works and you're still getting payment status not available, that just means the IRS has not yet scheduled a delivery date for you, so you can just continue checking that page and it will eventually update at some point in time. Okay, so the next question today is from Charlie. Charlie says, hello Josh, it's Charlie. No deposit in my bank this morning, June 11th, where I get my VA compensation payments each month, and I feel like the IRS doesn't care much about getting my stimulus payments into us who served in uniform and died for this country of ours, because I'm one of them who served in uniform and I have been waiting for a long time for my stimulus payment. So what's next? Okay, Charles, so first off, I must say thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate what you've done for our country and serving our country. Secondly, I do want to say that it's incredibly sad that the IRS is taking such a long time in getting stimulus payments out to veterans. It's just really sickening seeing numerous veterans treated this way after serving our country and then making them wait several weeks to receive their stimulus payment, and then checking the payment portal, seeing payment status not available, and just really being left in the dark. It's really sad to see. Unfortunately, at this point in time, your best resource is the payment portal. You will eventually receive a date, but in the meantime, you just have to keep checking. And while it is unfortunate, and I hate saying to just keep waiting, that is really the best advice that I have for you at this moment. All right, so the next question today is from Angela. Angela says, Josh, I keep hearing the same information that I already know. Please tell us how adults claimed as dependents will get their money next year. I was claimed without my permission and was told that we could get our stimulus in 2021. All right, Angela, thank you so much for that question. And you are correct. The information that you heard was correct. So if you were claimed as a dependent in 2019, then you would not be eligible for the stimulus payment. However, if that person who claimed you as a dependent in 2019 does not claim you in 2020 on their taxes, and no one else claims you on their taxes in 2020, then whenever you fill out your taxes in 2020, you would be eligible for a $1,200 tax credit, which you would receive in 2021 whenever you file your 2020 tax return. All right, so the next question today is from Kenneth. Kenneth says, I was claimed in 2018, but not 2019. I'm on SSDI for 10 years and haven't received my stimulus payment. Do I qualify? Thanks, Kenneth. All right, Kenneth, thank you so much for that question. So since you were claimed on someone's tax returns in 2018, but you weren't claimed in 2019, then yes, that would make you eligible for a stimulus payment just because the IRS goes off the most recent tax return. And since the most recent tax return in this case was 2019 and you weren't claimed in 2019, then that would make you eligible for the $1,200 stimulus payment. So in the meantime, just continue checking the payment portal. You should eventually receive a date. All right, so the final question of today's video is from Roderick. Roderick says, I have been on Social Security disability for a few years. My wife usually claims me, but not this year. I have a balance of child support that is less than half of the stimulus. I called child support to see if they offset my stimulus payment. They said they have not received anything as of yet. Will I still receive my stimulus payment? All right, Roderick, thank you so much for the question. So yes, if you do have some past due child support, your stimulus payment can be offset by the past due child support. However, in this case, you did say that your past due child support is less than half of the stimulus payment. So for example, if your past due child support is just like $500, since the stimulus payment is for $1,200, you should receive around a $700 stimulus payment, with $500 of that being offset by past due child support. All right, so that wraps up all of the comments and questions of today's video. Now I'm just going to proceed along with some updated payment dates. Now I did see some people in the comment section mention that they're going to be receiving payments today on the 12th. So if you also received a payment of today on the 12th, let me know in the comment section below. Hopefully we see some other people, other than just the few people I saw in the comment section, also receive their payments today. That would be great news. And it's also a little bit weird because I've seen most payment dates for Wednesday, so I would expect some more payments to go out next Wednesday as well. And also keep in mind, even if you're checking the payment portal and it gives you payment status not available or some other type of error, I would still recommend checking your bank account or your Direct Express card on a daily basis, just because even though it is rare, I have seen some cases where people go to check the payment portal and it says payment status not available, but then they go to check their bank account and it just randomly shows up. So it may be a case where the payment portal just isn't updating for you for whatever reason, but then it still lands in your bank account. So you definitely still want to check your bank account. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up this video by giving some resources that I think can be a benefit to you guys. So the number one resource I always recommend is the payment portal. I know it drives a lot of us crazy. We go there and we continually get errors and we never get a payment date, but it is the number one resource, and it will be the resource that 99% of the time will give us a payment date if we are eligible for a stimulus payment. Yes, there are some cases where it just never updates and we still receive a payment, but 99% of the time it will give a payment date. Additionally, you could also call the IRS EIP hotline, and I would recommend calling this number earlier in the day, just so you're waiting on hold for a lesser amount of time. And that number is 1-800-919-9835. Now, once again, if you do want to avoid being on hold for several hours, I would recommend calling that number in the morning. And finally, another great resource is actually right on the irs.gov website. They have like their own little FAQ on there. So a lot of the questions I see on there, I actually see in the comment section of my videos. And of course, finally, if you do have any questions for me, I would be more than happy to help you. So leave a comment in the comment section below and I will try to get to it. And if I don't get to it, I will try to answer as many questions in the next video that I see in the comment section. So with all that said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. Once again, I hope everyone had a great week this week, and hopefully stimulus payments continue to roll out week after week and we see more and more people getting paid. And once again, I hope you guys have a great weekend ahead, and I will see you in the next video.